Walt felt that Mickey needed a boost in popularity, so he decided to give him his own special. But he wanted to go above and beyond simple slapstick humor. He wanted fantasy mixed with classical music. He decided on Paul Ducasse's The Sorcerer Apprentice. Shortly after, he had dinner with famous conductor Leopold Tchaikovsky, who jumped at the chance to work with Walt on this project. It became clear early on that they weren't going to make a profit on this short, especially one that had 3 times the budget of an ordinary subject. So Walt decided to turn this into a feature film that would showcase several shorts accompanied by classical music, titled The Concert Feature. None of the animators knew what a concert feature would be, but they were given free rein to experiment, including the freedom to use any color they desired. Meanwhile, Tchaikovsky and his 100-piece orchestra recorded music on a shooting stage that was later configured into a recording studio in which they would record from midnight to 3 in the morning. When it came to the musical content, Walt hired composer and music critic Deems Taylor as an advisor behind the scenes and as a performer on screen. Now on to the shorts. 8 pieces of music were chosen for what would now be called Fantasia. Each piece was picked to represent a particular feeling. Up first was Toccata and Fugue in D minor by Johann Sebastian Bach. Walt had the idea of the audience being in a dreamlike state for the opening of the film. To explore this, Walt decided to use more of an abstract concept with the use of shapes. This was followed by the most well-known piece on the program, the Nutcracker Suite by Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky. Walt felt this would help the audience ease into the concert due to its overwhelming popularity. To avoid what others had done in the past, he scrapped the actual Nutcracker story and opted to have nature itself as several characters in that short. Back to the origin of this film, The Sorcerer's Apprentice as a story did not change, but Mickey's appearance did. The animators, most notably Fred Moore, felt his current state was too difficult to showcase his expressions, so they gave him proper pupils, a pear-shaped body, and more of a flesh color to his skin. Despite Mickey being based on Walt, Yen Sid the Unnamed Sorcerer was more of what the animators thought was closer to Walt's character. Moving on to the most controversial piece, with Igor Stravinsky's Rite of Passage. Walt wanted to tell the origin of life that happened 6 million years ago. Needless to say, there was a fear that this would create riots due to the topic of evolution. One reason Walt wanted to explore this controversial topic was to give the animators a challenge and to add realism to their drawings instead of the cartoonish flair that they had grown accustomed to over the years. One thing that helped the scene was the special effects that were created in the process lab. For example, to create the volcanic smoke, the crew took a paint can and dumped it in water, took a picture and then flipped the image upside down, so then the animators could enhance it. Just like Snow White though, Walt was willing to spend any amount of money for quality, but he had to be careful since this film was considered a gamble. That is all for today. Tune in next time for part 2 where we learn more about the work behind the scenes and the release of the movie.
During the last few years, we've ventured into a lot of different fields, and we've had the opportunity to meet and work with a lot of wonderful people. I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.